Hi, everyone. Thanks. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk a little bit more about finishing up the family engagement text set. I know we're all well on our way, and that's wonderful. You have done your theme, you've done your rationale, you've gotten some feedback on those. You've done perhaps all, but at least some of your first or of your 10 texts that you're going to include in the set. So that's wonderful. And what's really left for us, other than refining those and updating those first parts, is part two. And part two is these learning experiences. So there are two of them. And what this is simply a discussion, one to two strong paragraphs, well developed paragraphs, about how you're going to engage students with the texts that are in your set. So I have this list of texts, but it's not just a list. We've got to get them in students' hands. We've got to get them in students' minds. We've got to get students thinking about them and doing something with them. Now, what these learning experiences are not, okay, is simply worksheets. You can include a worksheet or a link or a text to um, an activity, a link to an activity that is not one of your texts, but is something that you're going to do, and that's fine. But in this learning experience, I'm looking for you to explain to me what you're doing, why you're doing it, how it engages students with your theme. The first one can be very theme focused, right? You're trying to get students to engage in this theme and be interested in the theme that you've created. Keep in mind that each one of these learning experiences should include at least two of the texts from your text set. Okay, so we're kind of showing students how it's not just read a book and do an activity, read a book and do an activity, but these books actually work together to create systems of knowledge that we now have and that we can now draw upon. So each learning experience should use two, and as I said, the first one can be totally focused on the theme and stuff that you're going to do together in school. It could be something you did on the first day. That would be perfectly fine. You're going to explain to me, these are the books we're going to use, or the texts. I know they're not all books. These are the texts from my set that we're going to use, and this is what we're going to do and why. The second one, I want you to dig a little bit more deeply, because this is where I want you to think about how you're going to engage students with their families, their communities, their homes. And I've said to some of you when we chatted one on one, I do not mean that you have to physically invite people into classrooms. That's getting actually more and more difficult, sadly, um, to get people to come into schools. And even when it was easy for parents who were able to come into schools, not all parents are able to do that in the middle of the day, and that's fine. Not all kids have someone who can come to the school and who can come in and be a part of a class activity. That's fine. You'll get to know your families and your students and see what you can do there, see what opportunities arise. But even if you can't physically invite students' families or communities into your classrooms, you can invite their lives in your classroom. Okay, so it is not our jobs as educators to tell students what is wrong, what is missing in their lives, what these are the things that you lack. We are not going at this from a deficit perspective. So what we want to do instead is invite students to bring in the things that they love about their communities, that they love about their cultures, their home lives, things like that. Invite them to bring it in and talk about it. And and we start from there. We use that as an opportunity. We can build without tearing down, if that makes sense. So that's really important to me that you understand about the learning experiences. Okay, I've had people turn this in before and it's just, oh, here's the worksheet we're going to do. That is not what I want. What I want is, this is where your learning comes through. What did you learn by putting together this text set? How are you thinking about how you're going to engage your students to enjoy, dig deeply, take action, mirrors, windows, sliding glass doors? How are you going to engage your students to really engage with the literature and to connect the literature with their lives? Okay, so that's your goal here. It's brief, but it is very powerful. So I just wanted to take a minute and let you know that. So thank you. That's part two. And I look forward to seeing what you come up with.